Typically, your brain is pulled out through your nostrils with an iron hook. Next, all of your major organs are removed, apart from the heart.
Deep in China's desert, a 3,500-year-old mummy holds a secret no living population shares. Her DNA belongs to a vanished human lineage, lost for thousands of years. Preserved in desert sands, she wears ancient clothes and holds items from life. Who was she? And why does her story defy time? Join us as we uncover the mystery behind this discovery. Princess Xiaohe, the desert's timeless beauty. In the vast, lonely expanse of the Tarim Basin in Xinjiang, the desert winds carry the silence of thousands of years. Beneath the shifting sands, archaeologists discovered a figure frozen in time, a young woman whose presence seemed to reach across millennia. She became known as Princess Xiaohe, not because she ruled or commanded armies, but because of her extraordinary preservation and the delicate beauty that still clung to her after nearly 4,000 years. Her discovery in 2003 at Xiaohe Cemetery No. 5, Tomb 11, marked one of the most remarkable archaeological finds of the modern era. The Xiaohe Cemetery, stretching across the barren reaches near Lop Nur, held secrets of a people long vanished. The princess lay buried in a boat-shaped coffin, a wooden vessel intended to carry her into the afterlife. Tightly wrapped in cowhide shrouds, her resting place was marked by standing wooden posts, silent sentinels that had endured the desert's unrelenting sun and salt. The cowhide shrank over time, sealing her coffin naturally, and the desert's arid, salty climate worked in tandem with the burial method to preserve her body with astonishing detail. When she was unearthed, her long eyelashes, facial features, and hair were intact. She appeared peaceful, even slightly smiling, her body a fragile bridge to the Bronze Age. Standing at 152 centimeters tall, she wore a white felt hat, a wool cloak adorned with tassels, and a string skirt. Fur-lined leather boots still encased her feet. On her right arm was a bracelet with a single jade bead, and around her neck, a red rope necklace completed her ensemble. Small wooden pins and 3 pouches of ephedra, a plant with ceremonial or medicinal value, were placed beside her. Twigs and branches of ephedra, grains of wheat and millet, strings made from animal tendons, and even animal ears were carefully arranged across her body, evidence of a people who honored the dead with ritual and care. Among the most intriguing discoveries were chunks of cheese resting on her neck and chest. Initially puzzling to scientists, later analysis revealed them to be the oldest preserved cheese in the world, likely made with a kefir starter. Her boots and body were coated in a white substance, possibly another dairy product, though its exact composition remains unknown. These offerings suggest a belief in an afterlife, a desire to provide nourishment and comfort for the journey beyond. Artifacts found alongside her spoke of daily life, craftsmanship, and cultural sophistication. Textiles woven from wool and plant fibers, wooden oars, and felt items hint at a people capable of intricate work and careful thought. The boat-shaped coffin itself was a symbolic object, representing movement, transition, and protection in the uncertain voyage after death. Despite her peaceful expression, her life in the harsh desert environment would have required skill, resilience, and ingenuity. Though her exact role or status remains unknown, she represents the wider community of the Xiaohe culture, a society that flourished in isolation for centuries. Her discovery captured attention worldwide. Exhibitions in California, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Beijing allowed people far from the desert to witness her delicate features and finely crafted garments. She became more than a mummy. She was a messenger from the Bronze Age, a reminder that even in the harshest lands, human life thrived and left traces for those willing to uncover them. Even as researchers studied her carefully, the question lingered: what made this young woman and the people around her so unique? The answer would come from her DNA, a hidden story encoded in the fibers of her cells, waiting for science to read. This genetic secret would reveal a lineage unlike any living today, a vanished population that had survived in the desert long before empires rose elsewhere. The desert held its silence once more, but beneath the sands, Princess Xiaohe's story was only beginning. To understand it fully, scientists had to first unlock the secrets of her DNA. A genetic secret unearthed: Princess Xiaohe's DNA. While the physical presence of Princess Xiaohe captivated the world, it was her DNA that truly stunned scientists. In laboratories designed to handle ancient DNA with the utmost care, researchers extracted genetic material from her remains, aiming to uncover her ancestry and understand her place in human history. Ancient DNA analysis is a meticulous process. It requires nuclear DNA, which contains the full blueprint of the human body, and mitochondrial DNA, which passes from mother to child and survives in higher quantities over millennia. Every sample had to be protected against contamination from modern humans, and sequencing had to be precise to reconstruct the fragmented genetic strands left behind. The results revealed something extraordinary. Princess Xiaohe belonged to a population with isolated ancient North Eurasian ANE ancestry. This lineage, once widespread across Eurasia, has largely vanished today. No modern population fully matches the genetic profile she carried. Her features, from high cheekbones to the shape of her face, reflected this ancestry more than the modern peoples living in the Xinjiang region. Through her DNA, she connected to a human story that had remained hidden for thousands of years, a story of survival in the desert and eventual disappearance from the genetic landscape. The sequencing process itself was a feat. Tiny fragments of her DNA, some degraded by centuries of exposure even in ideal desert conditions, were carefully extracted from bones and teeth. Scientists used advanced methods to read the sequences, compare them with known populations, and filter out any possible contamination. They examined both the mitochondrial DNA, tracing her maternal lineage, and the nuclear DNA, revealing a comprehensive picture of her ancestry. Through this work, they confirmed that Princess Xiaohe's genome belonged to a branch of humanity that had not fully persisted into the modern era. This discovery carried profound significance. It demonstrated that human populations in the Bronze Age were far more diverse and complex than previously believed. The Xiaohe people, and Princess Xiaohe herself, represented a vanished human lineage that had thrived in isolation. Their survival in the harsh Tarim Basin environment speaks to remarkable adaptation, endurance, and cultural resilience. It also opens a window into migration patterns across Eurasia, showing how ancient peoples moved, settled, and sometimes vanished without leaving direct descendants. Princess Xiaohe's DNA is not just a scientific record, it is a voice from the past. It tells of a world long gone, a people who lived, dressed, celebrated, and prepared for life beyond death in ways both practical and deeply meaningful. Her genes, her preserved body, and the artifacts surrounding her coffin combine to offer a vivid portrait of a community that once walked the desert plains, now largely forgotten except through her presence. The timeless life of Princess Xiaohe. Princess Xiaohe's presence in the desert is more than a silent figure wrapped in cowhide. It is a vivid glimpse into a world long gone. Her body, so well preserved that eyelashes, hair, and even the delicate texture of her skin remain intact, tells a story of care, skill, and adaptation. Every detail of her burial speaks to a people who understood their harsh environment and found ways to live, honor their dead, and leave a record that survives thousands of years later. The strands of her hair, the eyelashes still in place, and the subtle curve of her lips evoke a life that was full of small, human touches, of beauty and thoughtfulness, in a time and place where survival was never simple. Her burial goods reveal a daily life intertwined with culture, ritual, and practicality. She was adorned with a white felt hat and a wool cloak with tassels, a string skirt, and fur-lined leather boots. Around her neck, a simple red rope necklace rested, and on her arm was a jade bead bracelet. These items suggest not only aesthetic care, but also the materials available to a Bronze Age desert community, showing their skill in working with wool, leather, and stone. Wooden pins, small pouches of ephedra, twigs, and branches were placed alongside her body, likely for medicinal or ceremonial purposes. Scattered grains of wheat and millet hint at the diet of the people who buried her, showing that cereals were central to their sustenance. Even strings made from animal tendons and small animal ears were arranged carefully, perhaps as offerings or symbolic objects. The presence of preserved cheese on her neck and chest indicates a sophisticated understanding of food preparation and preservation, and it also suggests care in provisioning for the afterlife, a practice that humanizes the people and shows their imagination and beliefs. The Xiaohe Cemetery itself holds immense archaeological significance. It is one of the largest Bronze Age cemeteries in the Tarim Basin and provides unparalleled insight into a culture that existed in isolation for centuries. The boat-shaped coffins in which Princess Xiaohe and others were buried reveal a symbolic understanding of the afterlife, perhaps imagining the journey beyond death as a voyage across waters or the desert. The standing wooden posts above each coffin may have served both spiritual and practical purposes, marking the graves and connecting the living world with the spiritual. The materials found in the graves, from finely woven textiles to intricately made wooden items, suggest contact with surrounding regions, including Central Asia and the steppe, and hint at the movement of goods, ideas, and people. The cemetery offers a window into trade, travel, and the cultural exchanges of the Bronze Age, showing that even in the remote desert, communities were part of larger networks. Preservation of Princess Xiaohe is a marvel of nature and human technique. The Tarim Basin's cold, dry, and salty environment combined with careful burial practices to achieve a near-perfect natural mummification. Cowhide shrouds, tightly wrapped around her coffin, shrank over time and sealed the body from moisture and decay. The boat-shaped coffins and wooden posts, along with burial methods that minimized disturbance, ensured that her body remained untouched for thousands of years. This exceptional preservation not only provides a visual record of her appearance, but also protects her DNA, allowing scientists to sequence her genome and uncover the story of a vanished population. The interplay of climate, burial technique, and cultural care created a rare opportunity for modern science to understand ancient human life in a way that few other sites allow. Beyond the physical and cultural marvels, Princess Xiaohe's existence carries broader implications for understanding human history. Her DNA reveals isolated ancient North Eurasian ancestry, a genetic lineage that no modern population fully matches. This suggests a population that survived in the harsh desert while remaining genetically distinct, offering insight into the migration and isolation patterns of Bronze Age Eurasia. The people of Xiaohe adapted successfully to extreme environments, demonstrating resilience and ingenuity. The cemetery and the mummies raise questions about language, cultural practices, and social structures. Why did this lineage vanish? Were they absorbed into other populations, or did they disappear entirely? The answers remain elusive, but the mummies of Xiaohe provide tangible clues about human diversity, adaptation, and survival. The life and afterlife of Princess Xiaohe continue to fascinate because she embodies both the fragility and endurance of human existence. She lived in a harsh desert, surrounded by the materials and practices that defined her community. She was cared for in death with precision and ritual, leaving a record that bridges the gap of thousands of years. Her textiles, burial goods, diet clues, and natural preservation allow us to reconstruct not only her appearance but also the culture, beliefs, and ingenuity of a people otherwise lost to history. She is a reminder that human societies, even in isolation, can create beauty, sustain life, and leave traces that speak to future generations. Princess Xiaohe's preserved body, the careful arrangement of her burial, and the artifacts surrounding her offer a story that is both scientific and profoundly human. However, the Princess of Xiaohe wasn't the only mommy whose DNA has puzzled scientists. The beauty of Lulan, discovery and background. In the remote deserts of the Tarim Basin, where winds sweep endlessly across salt flats and sand dunes, the earth holds secrets of a long-lost people. Among these secrets was discovered a woman now known as the Beauty of Lulan, a figure whose preservation and story reveal much about life in the Bronze Age. She lived approximately 3,800 years ago, slightly earlier than the mummies of Xiaohe Cemetery, and represents an independent example of the unique ancestry found in this region. The Lulan beauty was uncovered on April 1, 1980, at the Tiabanhe Cemetery, near the ancient site of Lulan, along what would later become the Silk Road. Chinese archaeologist Mu Xunying together with members of the Archaeological Institute of the Xinjiang Academy of Social Sciences, carefully excavated her remains. From the moment of discovery, it was clear that her preservation was extraordinary. Her hair, skin, and even eyelashes remained intact, allowing researchers to see her face as it may have appeared 4 millennia ago. The structure of her face and the alignment of her features provided a vivid sense of her individuality and humanity, a rare window into a life lived in a harsh desert environment. Unlike the intentional mummification of ancient Egypt, the Lulan beauty was preserved entirely by nature. The arid, cold, and salty conditions of the desert froze her form in time. Her body had been wrapped in layers of wool cloth, cowhide leather, and linen, providing additional protection from the elements. These coverings, combined with the desert's natural climate, sealed her in a cocoon that kept decay at bay for thousands of years. Her leather shoes and clothing showed repeated repairs, indicating a life of careful maintenance and resilience. Small clay items and grains placed near her body suggest that her burial included elements of daily life or ritual significance, reflecting a culture deeply attentive to both the living and the dead. Her discovery, however, was not straightforward. For many years, the testing of her DNA was forbidden, as authorities feared it might influence modern political movements. In 1993, limited testing of tissue samples was conducted, revealing that her ancestry traced back to Europe. Later studies, in 2007 and 2009, confirmed these findings, showing that her ancestors likely traveled to Xinjiang through Siberia. The results placed her firmly within the isolated population of the Tarim Basin Bronze Age, distinct from modern groups in the region. Once her European-linked ancestry was confirmed, the government allowed the Lulan beauty to be displayed in museums. By 2008, she could be viewed on the second floor of the Xinjiang Museum in the Mummy Hall, where visitors could see her face and reconstructed likeness. A Japanese painter had reconstructed her appearance to give observers a tangible image of her life, making her both a scientific treasure and a human story preserved in time. Even in life, she faced the challenges of a harsh environment. Her preserved hair shows signs of lice infestation, and her lungs contain sand, dust, and charcoal, suggesting that she struggled with respiratory issues. She died in her 40s, and her life, though now silent, speaks through her clothing, repairs, and the artifacts left with her. Every detail, from woolen wrappings to repaired leather shoes, tells of a community skilled in surviving, adapting, and caring for one another in a difficult landscape. The discovery of the Lulan beauty opened a door to understanding not only an individual life, but also the culture, customs, and resilience of an entire population. Her burial reflects careful thought, practical skill, and ritual attention, painting a vivid picture of human life along the deserts and salt lakes of the Tarim Basin. As remarkable as her preservation was, the Lulan beauty held another secret, one hidden deep within her cells. Her DNA would reveal not only her ancestry, but also her connection to other Bronze Age populations in the Tarim Basin. Now, let's take a look at what makes her DNA very unique. Genomic and physical evidence. The Lulan beauty's genetic makeup provides profound insight into the lives of the Tarim Basin populations. Partial genome analysis revealed that she belonged to the same ancient North Eurasian-related lineage seen in the Xiaohe mummies. This isolated ancestry, distinct from modern populations, confirms that she was part of a larger community that thrived in the Bronze Age desert while remaining genetically separate from surrounding regions. Her DNA shows that the people of Lulan were not an anomaly, but members of a broader population that spread across the Tarim Basin, carrying unique adaptations and a shared genetic heritage. Her genome provides a connection not only to other mummies, but also to patterns of migration, settlement, and isolation in ancient Eurasia. Comparison with Princess Xiaohe highlights the regional consistency of this unique lineage, confirming that several generations of desert populations maintained a distinct genetic identity. This is remarkable, considering the challenging environment in which they lived, far from the fertile plains and river valleys that supported other contemporary civilizations. The Lulan beauty's physical condition offers additional clues about her life. Her body was wrapped in layers of wool, cowhide, and linen, and she wore leather shoes, all carefully maintained. The wear and repairs on her garments suggest a life of daily labor and resourcefulness, demonstrating that her people valued practical solutions and sustained their possessions over time. Her hair, though infested with lice, provides evidence of close human contact and daily life in a desert settlement. The presence of clay items and grains in her burial suggests a society engaged in both agriculture and ritual, with careful attention to sustenance, preparation for the afterlife, and the symbolic meaning of objects placed with the deceased. Remarkably, the desert preserved even the finest details of her face. Her eyelashes, skin texture, and facial structure remained intact, allowing scientists and visitors alike to visualize her as a living woman. This level of preservation, combined with DNA analysis, offers an extraordinary opportunity to connect physical anthropology, genetics, and cultural archaeology. It demonstrates how environmental conditions, burial practices, and human ingenuity can combine to preserve life for thousands of years. The Lulan beauty likely lived around 1800 BCE and died in her 40s. Evidence of respiratory problems from inhaled dust, sand, and charcoal hints at the challenges she faced daily in her harsh desert home. Despite these hardships, her society ensured she was clothed, cared for, and buried with attention to ritual and cultural norms. Her life and death reflect resilience, adaptation, and care, revealing a people capable of surviving and thriving in isolation. In a broader sense, the Lulan beauty confirms the existence of a vanished lineage in the Tarim Basin. Her genetic profile, together with her physical preservation, underscores the diversity of Bronze Age populations in Central Asia. Her DNA and that of other mummies provide vital clues about migration, isolation, and human adaptation, offering a rare glimpse into a population that lived, worked, and created culture in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The Lulan beauty's story is one of survival, identity, and mystery. She lived in a remote desert, endured its challenges, and was preserved by both nature and human care. Through her, we can glimpse an entire community that lived thousands of years ago, whose lineage, customs, and culture disappeared from history but remains encoded in her DNA and immortalized in her preserved form. She connects us to a world that existed long before modern borders and civilizations, reminding us of human resilience and the enduring power of memory preserved in the sands of time. What other secrets did this mummy reveal? Keep on watching to find out more. Secrets of a Vanished Desert People. The Lulan beauty's burial provides a fascinating window into the culture and daily life of the people who lived in the Tarim Basin thousands of years ago. Her clothing and textiles show remarkable skill and attention to detail. She was wrapped in layers of wool, linen, and cowhide, with her leather shoes carefully repaired and maintained. Unlike the Xiaohe mummies, whose clothing was often decorated with tassels and simple woven patterns, Lulan garments were more tightly woven and utilitarian, reflecting adaptations to the local environment. Her coffin, like others in the region, was boat-shaped, but the construction differed slightly from Xiaohe style. Lowland coffins were sometimes more robust, designed to withstand the shifting sands and salt flats near the lake, and often included careful placement of posts above the body. These variations suggest that while both populations shared cultural roots, they adapted burial practices to their immediate environment. The burial goods found with the Lulan beauty offer clues to her people's beliefs and daily routines. Grains such as wheat and millet were placed near her body, possibly as sustenance for the afterlife or as offerings reflecting agricultural practices. Small clay items accompanied her, which may have had symbolic or ritualistic value. The presence of dairy traces, along with evidence of repaired clothing and functional objects, suggests a society that balanced practical survival with ritual care. These items reveal a culture that valued continuity, preparation, and respect for the deceased, emphasizing that death was not an end, but a continuation of community and memory. Lulan itself was more than a burial site. It was an early desert oasis settlement, strategically located to take advantage of water sources, grazing land, and trade routes. The oasis provided the necessary resources for life in a harsh desert climate, allowing populations to thrive despite environmental challenges. Its position along early corridors that would later become part of the Silk Road indicates that the Lulan community may have engaged in trade, migration, and cultural exchange. Archaeological evidence of ceramics, grains, and textiles suggests links with Central Asia and the Eurasian steppe, showing that even isolated populations maintained contact with wider networks. The Lulan beauty, through her burial and genetic profile, represents a key piece in understanding the movement of peoples across this region. The environmental conditions at Lulan contributed significantly to the preservation of her body and DNA. Buried near a salt lake in an arid desert, she was protected from moisture and rapid decay. The combination of dry soil, cold nights, and salty sediments slowed decomposition, while her carefully wrapped wool, cowhide, and linen layers acted as a protective cocoon. Unlike many other ancient populations, where DNA is often degraded beyond study, Lulan's genetic material remains readable, providing scientists with a unique opportunity to trace ancestry, migration, and population history in the Tarim Basin. Her preservation allows detailed study of physical features, health, diet, and even clothing practices, giving a holistic view of life in a Bronze Age desert community. The Lulan beauty's existence confirms the presence of a widespread, yet vanished, genetic lineage in the Tarim Basin. Alongside Princess Xiaohe, her DNA indicates a population with distinct ancient North Eurasian ancestry, maintained across several settlements for centuries. This genetic evidence raises intriguing questions about survival strategies in harsh environments, how isolated groups maintained their identity, and how cultural practices supported continuity in both life and death. Her genome also prompts questions about language, social structures, and eventual disappearance. While her people left no direct descendants among modern populations, their legacy survives in the genetic record, material culture, and the remarkably preserved bodies that tell their story. Through her burial, the Lulan beauty illustrates how ancient communities balanced practical needs, spiritual beliefs, and social customs. She lived in a desert oasis, wore carefully maintained clothing, consumed a diet of grains and dairy, and was surrounded by objects that reflected both everyday life and ceremonial significance. Her preservation in the arid landscape ensured that modern science could uncover details about her ancestry and the broader community to which she belonged. The differences and similarities between Lulan and Xiaohe style show regional variation within a shared cultural framework, revealing adaptability and innovation among Bronze Age populations in the Tarim Basin. Her story also reminds us of human resilience in the face of isolation. The Lulan beauty, through her life, death, and remarkable preservation, provides a tangible connection to a vanished world. She demonstrates that even in remote and harsh environments, humans can create sophisticated cultures, maintain strong community bonds, and leave behind traces of their existence that endure thousands of years. Her burial reflects the care and thought invested in both survival and memory, showing that these desert populations, though long gone, continue to speak to us through their preserved remains. In the sands of Lulan, the beauty's legacy survives. Her body, her clothing, her burial goods, and her DNA all converge to reveal a life that was once ordinary, but now extraordinary, preserved by nature and culture alike. She confirms the existence of a lost lineage, provides insight into population movement across the Tarim Basin, and opens questions about human adaptation, survival, and cultural continuity in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Beneath the desert sands, two women from different times share a secret no living person carries, a story written in DNA and preserved for millennia, linking Princess Xiaohe and the Lulan beauty. Princess Xiaohe and the Lulan beauty are two of the most remarkable mummies ever discovered in the Tarim Basin. Though they lived hundreds of years apart, their remains reveal striking similarities that offer a rare window into the lives of Bronze Age populations in Xinjiang. Both women were preserved naturally by the desert, their eyelashes, hair, and skin surviving the harsh, arid conditions for thousands of years. Their bodies, carefully wrapped in layers of wool, linen, and cowhide, demonstrate a shared attention to burial practices, while the boat-shaped coffins and wooden posts above their graves indicate common cultural traditions adapted to desert life. When their DNA is compared, a fascinating pattern emerges. Both carry the ancient North Eurasian-related ancestry, a genetic lineage not found in any modern population. This shared DNA shows that these women were part of an isolated population that thrived in the Tarim Basin, while remaining genetically separate from surrounding regions. The consistency of this unique ancestry across both mummies suggests that these people maintained a stable gene pool for centuries, despite the challenges of desert living and possible contacts with neighboring groups. Their genomes reveal that they were not anomalies, but representatives of a broader, now vanished population whose traits were preserved in the sands of the desert. Material culture further connects their worlds. Both women were buried with textiles, leather, and practical items such as shoes and pouches, indicating a society skilled in resource management and craftsmanship. Traces of wheat, millet, and dairy products in their graves suggest similar diets, reflecting agricultural knowledge adapted to the arid environment. While Xiaohe garments were often decorated with tassels, Lulun clothing leaned more toward utilitarian weaving, highlighting subtle regional differences within a shared cultural framework. The story of these women raises profound questions. Why did this unique genetic lineage vanish? Were they absorbed into other populations, lost to migration, or did they disappear entirely? No modern group carries their DNA fully, leaving a gap in human history. Yet through careful study of their remains, researchers glimpse patterns of isolation, adaptation, and survival. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.